Hello, everybody. Adam here, community manager at Futera United. That on the screen there, right there, that you can see is Mr. Gael Basana, star man of Futera United, fan favourite. Gael, how does it feel, right, that Blue, I know it's Blue, but there's probably other guys. How does it feel? I was thinking about this yesterday. How does it feel that those guys are walking around with Futera United jerseys with Gael Basana on the back?
Oh, it feels amazing, man. Like just knowing that like there's people around the world like got my jersey on, walking around and just spreading my name and also the team as well, bringing awareness to the team. It feels like we're doing the right thing in Futera United.
I think so. I mean, that must be because I think it's like when I was growing up and I realized I wasn't going to be able to play football at any decent level at about 9 years old. Right? It was pretty clear to me. I'm not a great baller. I think the dream was gone. But by 11 at the latest, the realism set in. But you obviously had that for a little bit longer. But the thing that I always used to think about was, imagine like people walking around with like Partington on the back of their jersey. That must be so cool. And you've got that. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I mean, like we've always like when I was young, that's every like young kid's dream, like someone walking around with my t-shirt's name, like obviously in the town of Luton where I grew up and everything, like football all around Luton, you're just thinking like, I imagine like someone walking around with my shirt, and everyone in Luton knows everyone pretty much, and then they just see the sun on the shirt, they'll be like, oh yeah, I know him and stuff. And that was the excitement, like growing up and playing football at such a young age.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your kind of journey to Futera United and where that started. It started off at Luton. How old were you before? How long did you spend at Luton?
So I was at Luton until I was about 18. Like, so I think it's like my 18th birthday. And then that's when I moved out of Luton. And, that's when I started really like traveling. That's when the plane just became my oyster. So I started traveling a lot.
Okay, so where did you? So what was that? So you got released by Luton then at what? Did you say 17?
Yeah,
Then
so that was believe it or not, so it was around 15, like going into my 16th birthday. And that was actually a very heartbreak because I did not know how to take it. And also like back then it was just brutal. Like they'll just tell you like, listen, you're not good enough. We don't think you can progress in the program with us anymore. And then it kind of like leaves you in the limbo because you're thinking like at 15, 16-year old, like what am I gonna do now? Like all I pretty much know and love is football. Like, yes, we go to school and stuff, but really and truly, the reason why we're motivated to go to school is because we get to play football if we're going to school, and obviously for that to happen, you just feel like, it's pretty much your dream shattered, to be fair.
did they bribe you then? Did they say like is that a thing that they do at football clubs where they say you can only play for us if your attendance is so high at school?
Yeah, so basically what they try to do, like they always make sure that academically, you're always on point academically. And then like if they see that, okay, you're slacking off, with school a bit, and then they feel like you're distracted, and then they kind of like relate that to your football. So they think like, oh, if you're distracted at school, then you must be distracted at football as well. So that's why like they always make sure that you're on top of your school stuff.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they've got to try and incentivize you because I suppose all you want to do is play football. So, um,
Exactly. And I wasn't really much of a bright lad at school either. Like Luton schools ain't exactly the best.
no. I can imagine, mate. I can imagine. So, well, so then you leave Luton at like 15, whatever, just before you're 16, and then we've attempted this. This is the second time we've attempted this chat. The first time we had a couple of technical issues, but you mentioned previously that like you kind of fell out of love a little bit with football then for a little bit. Is that what
Yeah,
happened?
I did. Like, so obviously I feel like I love football, like, getting, someone telling you that you're not good enough to play and stuff like that. So you kind of believe it. you believe it. Oh, you know what? Obviously, they know what they're talking about. So I must not be good enough. So like fell out of love with it and didn't really care about it as much. And believe it or not, like I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years, a very long time not playing football, not taking it seriously. Obviously, I play like some park football with friends and not, but it was just as a joke. It wasn't like serious or competition games and stuff like that.
Right.
And yeah, and then how I got back into it was actually through a breakup. So obviously, like broke up with my missus back then, and football was really what kind of helped me get over the breakup. And then that's how I fell back in love into football again.
So where did you go from there? Then did you stay in Britain, or did you head out and start exploring?
Nah, so I actually went to university in Germany.
Right.
So so obviously I branched out and I said, like, look, I need to go university. Obviously, football dream was all dead, and then from then on, it was just education, education. So going university in Germany, I managed to find a team there in a little village called Göttingen, which is not far from Frankfurt.
Right.
And they were playing at the time. They were playing in the fifth division in the German system. And that's literally when I was like, okay, you know what, I'm back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm back playing, and had a little spell there, and then I went back to the UK because now I'm not thinking about education as much. So I'm like, oh, you know what, I'll go back to the UK. Education, I can always, study whenever because there's no age limit with education, but there is an age limit with playing sports. So went back to the UK, playing non-league. At that time, it was with Leighton Buzzard Town,
Yeah.
and they were playing at that time in what we call Evo Stick. So Evo Stick, if I was to put it in today's term, it's like National League.
Mm.
So to play National League
I remember
with the
it. I
Evo
remember
Stick.
the Evo stick. Yeah.
Yeah. So like we had some good times, and then it was kind of random because I was playing in Leighton Buzzard, and then some guys were like, "Oh, how do you like?" He just randomly told me like, "How do you feel about playing in Australia?" And I was like, "Australia? What's Australia like? That's so far." Like I didn't even know there's football there. The only thing I knew about Australia was just kangaroos live there. Like, I was a little bit closed-minded, and yeah, so they say like Australia. So I was still a bit skeptical. I was like, nah, I don't know. Maybe this might be a scam or whatnot. And the guys actually gave me an option with the team. They're like, look, the team gives you two options: either you pay for your visa or you pay for your flight. But it's whichever one you pay, the team will pay for the other. So I was like, well, if this is going to be a scam, I'm just gonna pay for my visa because it's cheaper than me paying for my flight.
Yeah.
And then if I lose out, then I lose out. So I paid for my visa, and then yeah, so the flight ticket was there, and I was like, oh, this is legit, So when there, found myself in Australia, in northern New South Wales, near Newcastle,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then that's when like the high level of football started. So I started off playing in Division 3 in Australia, and that was with a team called Singleton Strikers. And then like had a very good spell for my first season, and then the second season I went to play with an NPL side, which was Western Bears, and unfortunately, bad luck, had an injury during the preseason, and obviously like that was pretty much like football in Australia finished,
Yeah.
and I had to come back to Europe and pretty much just get myself back on my feet again. And plus also like I spoke to my mom about it, and she was like, oh, you know what, come back to England, like, get yourself tough enough, because we all know the English football just all tough, tough and
Yeah.
hard. So you got to come back, play some Sunday league football and whatnot, get people to tackle you, and and the ref not giving you anything. But yeah, so done that, and then I found myself in Thailand.
Okay. Okay. So, just going back to the Germany thing when you went to study, could you speak German?
When I went there, no, I couldn't speak German. So it was kind of like the type of person I am. I like to put myself out of my comfort zone. So I kind of like to be challenged. So it was something like everyone was like, "You're crazy! Like, how are you going to a country where you don't know anyone, you don't speak the language?" And then I was like, "Well, that's why not?" And one thing as well, like I wanted to go there was just I wanted something different.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, when I went there, so now obviously speaking to you right now, I do speak the language now, but when I went there, it was a bit crazy, like everyone speaking German, and especially that me staying in a village, it's a bit like no one barely speak English, and you're just
Yeah.
like, trying to get by. But I think it kind of helped me in a way as well because I then was able to learn the language quicker because
Yes.
everyone speaks the language. You know what I mean? So in
Yes.
hindsight, that was helpful, like being in a place where they just speak German pretty
Most
much.
definitely the best way I think to learn a language is to be put into a position like that for sure. So you're in you've Australia, you've come back to Europe, then you've gone to Thailand. Did you have an opportunity in Thailand then with another club? Have you played for other Thai clubs?
Yeah, so when I got to Thailand, obviously we've got the COVID. So I've been in Thailand for 1 year and a bit now. So I only came to Thailand last year. And obviously we was through the COVID lockdown. I went through the whole like quarantine and stuff. And then obviously there were some trials going on. So I got myself an agent and, a good agent and went for a few trial. And out of the trial, we came out with 3 offers.
Okay.
So, however, like everything just went down to the salaries and they just couldn't meet what I wanted, what I
Right.
needed. Yeah. So I was like, okay, you know what? We'll wait for the second window. Um, wait for the second window and see what opportunity will come up. And then as I waited for the second window, unfortunately, I got COVID.
Yeah.
So COVID got me. So and unfortunately I couldn't go for trials or anything because I was recovering from COVID. And luckily in February, if I'm recalling correctly, luckily in February, Futera United were established, and they had a trial, which is actually quite interesting and is actually quite funny because on the trial days of Futera United, as I went there, imagine turning up to a trial day and you see like 150 odds players trialing. And as a player that's used to like just going to teams and then obviously train with a team maybe 3 days and then get a decision after that. Seeing that, I was thinking like, wow, what is this? This is like this is crazy. Like there's so many players. Like in my head, I was just thinking like, oh, you know what? Nah, I'm not really up for this because this is crazy. I thought I'm joining a team already. I did not know that there was actually a new team building from ground up. And luckily, and I think, I call it kind of a blessing because on that day, I was actually planning on leaving and not actually trialing. And luckily it was raining. So, and I didn't want to ride my bike on the rain. So, so I was like, oh, you know what? I might as well just play, ride it out. And I just, kept everything simple. I didn't really do anything, fascinating on the trial. And so I got through and I was actually quite surprised when I got through. And then on my way home, I did a bit of researches on Futera just to
Yeah.
see like what Futera is about and stuff and what it is that Futera are trying to do with this team. And just learning the concept of like how they wanted to get the community involved, a bit of like a football manager kind of style thing. Like they wanted the fan to be basically the core of like the key decisions in the team. So I was like, yo, this is actually a dope idea. You know what? Like imagine that, like someone, like not even like, well, yeah, the coaches do have saying, but imagine like a random supporter like making decision on you, like, oh, Gael plays today, like, oh, Gael don't play today and stuff. It's like it's a bit. I was curious, so like my curiosity kind of made me want to be part of Futera United.
Yeah.
So I came back I came back on the last stage of the trials. I was like, you know what, I'm going to smash it. And, you know, hold and behold, like I smashed it. And then the first thing, which was quite amazing, is seeing that like a staff member coming to me and showing me that someone's already tweeted me, and that's in the space of like an hour of me trialing, and that is just like wow, you know what I mean? It's crazy, you know, like someone literally tweeted me on just watching the game, and I don't even know if the vote has gone or whatever, and I think that was such an amazing feeling, you know, just having that someone somewhere around the world just watched the game and they really liked how you play and they want you to be part of this project.
Yeah, that's I think that's the real kind of beauty of Futera United, and you know, as there's elements of roadmap too, where we're going to try and give people the opportunity to trial for Futera United, and you know, people who lads who have maybe got a similar story to you, Gael, you know, to pit themselves in front of the community and to get the community to advocate for them, and then to potentially come over and trial for us. And it's all part of the same thing, really, of taking these lads, you know, who I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to create almost like, you know, profiles and superstars out of you guys, really, within our community. So I like that you mentioned that. Just on the trial, this is a football question that I've got. When you're trialing for a team, you sound like for Futera United for that trial, you played it perfectly. Is there a danger sometimes where you find that you're trying to do too much in a trial because you've only got a certain window to show what you can do, and then you maybe try and overcompensate and you do try things that you wouldn't normally try because you're looking to impress and catch the eye? Is there a danger of that when you're trialing out?
Yeah, it is a danger of that when you're trying that, especially like knowing that, okay, you know, let's say example, it's a day, it's only a trial for a day, or it can just be, you know, a trial, you just have one game. Sometimes it gets in your head where you're like, oh, I'm trying to impress so much because, you know, I want them to sign. But I feel like for many players, you know, like the best advice I'd give any player that wants to come and try, even for Futera United, you just play your game, you know, play what you play, you know, don't try and overcomplicate things and try things that you've never tried. Just play your game, and if you know, and if your quality shows, the coaches are well qualified to see that, okay, this is a good player, you know.
Right, I see. Yeah, of course, yeah, because it's not just what you do on the ball; it's also off the ball as well, isn't it? Of course, it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So your let's talk about Futera United then. Of course, your teammates. So Gael, we from the outside, you know, even me, you know, plays a key role in terms of helping to build the project, but I've not been in and around the club yet. I'm really, really excited, and I hope next year, you know, maybe I can join a couple of the community members and come out to watch a match and see some of you boys live and actually get to meet you as well. But from the outside looking in, you know, there are probably things that we don't see. What's the team like? You know, you've got this language barrier that's in place. I assume, you know, you've picked up a little bit of Thai now, but what's like the day-to-day kind of training sessions like? Who are the characters within the team? And what would you say about just being a player at Futera United?
Yeah, so I mean, like, for as a team, like obviously, like now we've been together for quite a period, so now it's basically like a whole family. But at the beginning, it was more individual because obviously, you know, everyone's in their own shell, and everyone trying to like kind of suss each other out to see, you know, this character, etc. And as you alluded to right there, like there is this massive language barrier, and I think like the reason why Futera United works and the reason why Futera United we managed to gel so quick is, you know, is thanks to the coaches, because how the coach set up the sessions, how the coach set up the training, you know, make sure that we're all getting involved, you know, we're all having fun but working at the same time. So that kind of like break the ice amongst everyone. So from then on, when that ice is broken, you then get to find out like, oh, you know what, this guy is a bit of like the joke of the team. You know, for the likes of Pang is a bit of a joke of the team. You know what I mean? Like
Pang's a joker, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a little cheeky. You know, he's always cheeky. Like yes, the language barrier, but you can understand with the body language, like he'll be a bit cheeky and stuff like that. And we like it, and also we're such a very good mix of, young and also mature players. And I think it balances us out a lot as well, because the young players are challenging us, the mature players. And at the same time, the young players are also taking something from us, the mature players as well.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting, the different kind of dynamics there. You mentioned the coaches as well. What's Coach Den like? Because again, we have that language barrier. We don't get to talk to him directly. What's he like in and around the club?
Yeah, Coach Dan, he's like, I have this thing where I say he's like a secret service. You know what I mean? Like you would think, like, obviously, he has his coaching staff, that do like the day-to-day basic stuff, like take us training. Obviously, we have a fitness coach in Coach Wood, and we have our main coach in Coach Breeze, and obviously you got the goalkeeper coach, etc. But Coach Den oversees everything that we do. Like, even though when we're training, we might not see him, but that's why I say it's like a secret service, because we will probably not see him for the whole session. And then you just look up and you see him sitting, up in the stand somewhere, and you're just watching the game. And just like, when did he get there? You know what I mean? And it's quite, it's quite sometimes like fascinating, like how can he be so incognito, like how he's so secretive, like how does he do that? And that's why, like, sometimes when you think like, oh, okay, like, when he gets the team out, etc., obviously he's communicating with his coaching staff, but at the same time he's overseeing everything. Us players, we just don't see it, so day to day we're always with like Coach Breeze, Coach Wood. So for us, that's our coach, you know what I mean? So, but really and truly, Coach Dan is the one who's overseeing everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the kind of his how would I say it? Like, in old football fashion, how where you have the manager, and then you have obviously your head coach as well. So Coach Dan is basically a manager in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can imagine it does seem like that a little bit from the outside. So is Coach Breeze good cop, and then Coach Den can be bad cop sometimes? You don't want to get on the
like, literally that. Literally like that. Yeah, and then because he doesn't say so much, and then when you do something good, and it just gives you a thumbs up, you're like, good, or it's like, oh, well done.
You appreciate it. Yeah, no, I get them vibes from him. I get them vibes from him. Really, he doesn't say a lot, but when he talks, people listen. No, that's really good. That's really good to know. So yesterday, Northumbria. I'm really struggling. I was doing a Timcast. Sorry, what is it?
Northumbria.
No, this is going to be a tricky one with some of the names of the clubs, but Northumbria. Anyway, we beat them. It doesn't matter. We beat them 3-1. They're gone now in the test yesterday. Gael, Mark said something to me on the phone yesterday morning where I was asking him, I said, how are the players feeling about this? And he said, you guys, the foreign lads, you kind of really get it and you're embracing it. And then he was like, I'm not sure whether or not, the Thai boys really are, that whether or not they're that, they understand it, but they're not really as, not that they're not invested, but, it seems a little bit more strange maybe to them, that you guys maybe get the concept a little bit more in terms of what we're trying to do with the test. But a 3-1 win yesterday. How surprised were you with that result, or was it not a surprise to you as a player?
Well, as a player, it was not a surprise, like, you're going to war, you know what I mean? Like, regardless of who the opponent is, either you lose or you win, it's never a surprise, because you're focused on the job at hand, you're focused on the challenge. But now that the game is over, and then analyzing the game, there was a little bit of an element of surprise, like, we played the game so well, like man to man, we were the better side. And obviously, a few special moments, we ended up getting the goals, and we won the game. And you can see, like, it was a very good challenge for us, being able to play with a Division 1 side, and we was up for it. It's like the analogy that I used for the test was that we're not so much getting thrown into the deep end, where we're in the water, but if we tiptoe, we'll be able to breathe. You know what I mean? So, and that's what we did yesterday. We tiptoed and we're breathing. So we on to the next part of the challenge.
Of course. And how far do you think we can go with this, Gael?
I think obviously our next challenge will be to play a professional side, which will be a Thai League 3 side. And football is a really weird thing because it could be the case where like it might not even be their day, and then we just come and from minute one we just go at them 100%. But let's not be alluded. They are a professional side, so they are going to be better than us. Like we are going there to be the underdogs, and that's why like earlier on when we said about us foreigners getting there. For us, it's more like a FA Cup, even though yes, it is a test, but it's more like a cup. Whereas like obviously for the Thai lad, they are up for the game. As you can see yesterday, everyone was up for the game.
Yeah.
But the concept of it, I think like in their culture, it's not like that. Whereas like in our culture, it's a cup game. Like we want to play the big teams because we want to do it, upset the big team. You know what I mean? Like we always like it when a big team, you play against a big team and you think like, oh, they come here thinking that they're going to win, and then we beat them, and it just gives you a different kind of excitement.
Agreed.
And I think like if we were to go and beat a T3 team, that would be massive, man. Like that would be such an achievement alone. And at the same time as well, like even if we do lose, I personally think it's still good for us because then we get to see ourselves where we are as a team, and then we can go back and work on becoming a better version of ourselves, whether that's individually or as a team as a whole.
Agreed. And we're certainly laying down markers. So it's all really, really exciting right now. I think we're all wondering how far we can go with this. And I think what's important to do as well, Gael, and this is testament to the work that you lads have done on the pitch, is to kind of look back on where we've come from. You mentioned the trials that were in Feb. We're in late June now, and the progress that we have made on the pitch has been exceptional, and that's testament to you guys. So keep up the good work, Gael. We will try and do these sporadically, so we will catch up. We have to take full advantage of you being an English speaker because there aren't too many in the side. And we will try and do these a little bit more frequently, mate, and we'll kind of get your inside track on what it's like to play for Futera United. But on behalf of the community and everybody, keep up the good work. And what are you aiming for goals wise this year? Have you got a number in your mind just before we go?
Yeah, so for goals wise, I'm aiming for double digits, so 10. Like minimum 10.
You'll get that, mate.
I'm satisfied with that. And
like I said, you're getting that.
Yeah, like you said yourself, like if you're looking back, we started in February and now we're in June, and we've progressed so much. Like you can see it that the work the coaches are doing is brilliant. Because look at the likes of like Pang, like he's improved massively. For me, he's the most improved player. From the beginning when we saw him, we was like, he's a bit, he's a bit weak. He's a bit like that understanding of the game. But now look at him.
Yeah.
You can't get him out of the side. And that is testament to the coaches, because what the coaches are doing, it is working for us. And for myself, I just think I'll be able to reach a new height. And I think with the test as well, it kind of helps the coaches to see, okay, what can we do to work on that? And it's amazing, man. Like where we've come, it's crazy. Like even the squad, we've even signed an international striker. I mean, hey,
exactly.
These things doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And that is just testament to everyone. And it goes to show that we mean business. Like we mean business. Like yes, we're a team that's run by a community, but you know what? Everyone plays with their hearts on the sleeve.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that, and do also request that your mother keeps on tweeting us. I love that she's I love that she's a big kind of Futera United advocate on Twitter. She did a tweet yesterday for us, which I retweeted, which was great. So tell her to keep up that as well. But yeah, Gael, mate, it's been very nice talking. Thank you for your time, and let's catch up again up the Futera United.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me, Adam. Thank you.
No worries. Catch you soon.